Now that the SEC has appealed Ripple in the decision, what's going to happen next with XRP? Well, in this video, I'm going to dive deep into the analysis on both log scale and linear scale just to take a look at what's really going to happen. So I've shown this chart a lot. This is my log scale GAN for XRP, and this is from the beginning right here in 2014. And essentially, it's one of my favorite charts in regards to market symmetry because it's just so beautiful. It just, from this 45, it took off straight directly to that orange level, then to the arcs, back to the orange level, to the arcs, back to the orange level. And it was just rinse and repeat throughout time. And the biggest thing that is noticeable, well, there's two. One is that orange level held so nicely as a support. A previous resistance flipped to a support for so many years. Like, sure, there was like a V bottom there, but that was only temporary. But this orange level held as a support for so long. And these arcs, the top arc has always been resistance throughout the history of XRP ever since 2018. Then it got confirmed as resistance 2021 of April, then 21 August, then November 21, then July 23, and now more recently, just now. So did this SEC appeal really affect price action? And I'm going to say no. And the reason why I'm going to say no is because before the decision came out of the appeal, it was already at resistance. And it was there last week. It wicked above that level last week, the week of the 23rd. And that decision just came out yesterday, right? And then earlier, it already wicked above again. So it kind of confirmed it was at resistance before that news came out. And sure, I was expecting this is going to be a great month and maybe it's going to break above, but that's just speculating because that's not confirmation. Confirmation would be having a weekly candle close above it, maybe a bullish engulfing weekly candle close above it, and then confirming it to support, but we never got that. It's only been wicks for the past 2 weeks. So I was speculating maybe it was going to do that, but no, it did not, right? It just kept getting rejected, and sure enough, that news just helped it go back down to support. And where exactly is that support? Well, we can just put on the SMAs here and simply look at that. Well, it's back in that range, right? It's back in the 51, the 0.51513, that's the 100-week moving average, and the top of that range is the 0.60966. It's just back in that range of support and resistance like nothing has changed. So all that happened was it confirmed one more time that that arc is resistance like it has been since the very top of $3, right? When XRP was in 2018 or 17, it went to $3, right? It's that arc has been resistance forever and it still is there. So all we got is breaking out above the 200 and a rejection. That's it, right? That's it. And the news just helped it go back down to support and nothing has changed at all. So whatever the SEC did or did not do, it does not matter because it was already at resistance and then it went back to support. So now we're going to look at something that we're going to go take this out a little bit further. And we're going to look at this range that it's really been in. And I'm going to draw a box for you right here. And this box is going to start right here. And I'm going to draw it all the way across to right here. Now, what do you see with this box? If we take off the moving average and everything, we can see, even I'll take off the GAN right here. What do we see with this box? Well, it's a range of support and resistance since 2020, right? Since 2020, it's a support and resistance range. Let's go back a little bit further. We can draw this box out further. What do we see? Well, it's more of a support and a resistance range, right? We can see it's always been, the top of that range has always been a resistance, right? Right here, right here, right here. And then after 2020 and 2021, it's been a support, a support, a support. Then it flipped it back to a resistance on the bottom, right? And now the top of that range has been a resistance, resistance, and resistance, and no different, right? That matched exactly where the arc used to be when I showed you. And where is that bottom of that range? Well, it's once again support. So again, this is more proof that nothing has changed at all. So now I'm going to go back and show you my linear scale again just to see what's really going on there. And now it's my linear scale again, and this is pulled up from the same time frame, but the early days just seem like nothing, right? They just look like little dots on the screen. And that's how exponential XRP really has been, right? The first from 2013 all the way to 2017, there really has been no price movement until that acceleration, right? Then it just took off directly to the blue level exactly. And then it just came back down to the orange. And then back in 2021, it confirmed that orange level and the arc above as resistance. And then it came back down. But what we're really noticing, especially since this 2017, is everything is a series of higher lows, right? From here, it's a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and higher low, and still so on and so forth. So the trend is still going higher over time regardless. And one thing I want to point out is what happened after the SEC sued Ripple, right? They sued them in what, December of 2020, right? Then price tanked back down to this 21-cent zone, even a little bit below, right? Possibly in the 17s or so, right? It went down there. It went down pretty low. And then what happened? After the lawsuit, it skyrocketed, right? It went all the way back up to $1.60 from that 20-cent zone, right? It just skyrocketed. So is that really something to fear right now? Do we really need to fear things are going to collapse when we have proof that after the SEC sued Ripple, that the price went up a lot, right? How much did it go up exactly? Well, we can go from the bottom here and just go straight up, and it went up 1,000%, right? It really went up 1,000% from that bottom to the very top. So if that happened after the SEC lawsuit, then what is possible now? I mean, it's just an appeal, and XRP already has regulatory clarity. So I think something even more explosive could happen too. And not only that, so we'll go into the angle of this, and we'll see what's really happening with this angle right here. So we can see ever since it kind of broke out in 2017, this angle has been very important as a support, then a resistance, resistance, resistance. Then it shot up to the blue, resistance, back to the orange, and it's been trying to hold it as a support. But back in July, it did confirm the gray angle was support. But now we're just back at a level, right? And again, I'll just draw a line here for this one, and we can see that line is simply just a previous resistance right here flipped to a support once again. So is this chart bearish? No, it is not. It is actually very, very bullish still. And I think if this support holds, which I think the probability is pretty good, then it can just build a base again and eventually go higher. So I think it's all stepping stones to go in the right direction. And what my linear scale is telling me is once this actually confirms and breaks out of that, it's going to go back to the blue level, 92 cents. Then it's going to go to the ARCs, 120s, maybe 140s, and the next level does sit up here in the 160s. But I think after the 160s, then the log scale chart will really take over, and it'll just explode to the $3, to the 5, to the 8, and go much higher. But this is still in the beginning stages of something beautiful, I think, because all price did, it got rejected by resistance. And what did it do? Just go back and test support. That's it. That's it. Who cares about any narrative? That's all it did. And it's still maintaining market symmetry perfectly on linear scale and log scale. And next, I'm going to show you the XRP on log scale, but this is with the Bollinger Band. So what are we seeing on the Bollinger Band on the weekly chart? Well, the weekly chart, we're seeing that it's just simply backtesting the middle line, which is the 20-week moving average, right? And actually, the Bollinger Bands were starting to expand a little bit because price was pressing up against it, but then things went right back down to test support. And that support is, right now, the basis is 53812. So price is a little bit below it, but this is a weekly chart, so it still has 3 days and 3 hours left in the week to close back above that convert or that moving average, right? And it is starting to flatten out a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how it closes, but this is still a very bullish development of another example and another confluence of just backtesting as support. Now, if I take that off and then I put on the bull market support band here, what do we see with that? Well, it's also just backtesting and wicking through the bottom of that bull market support band. Now, whether or not it closes above in 3 days and 3 hours, that's still yet to be determined. But what we can see is that maybe since things are starting to slope down a little bit, maybe it will start to close below it. We don't know. But we've seen it before where it kind of sloped down and then it found a base and then went higher. So it's not too important, but it's still in that zone of holding support. So let's go back to that Bollinger Band right here, and we'll take off the bull market support band. And we're going to go to the monthly chart and we're going to see what the monthly chart really looks like. And the monthly chart, the bands are expanding even tighter. So last month, the bottom band was here, right here. This month, and it's month over month, it's contracting and squeezing tighter and tighter and tighter. Ever since here, really, since November, it's just getting really, really, really tight. And we can go back in time, and it's never been this tight before, ever. So that just is proof that it's in a really, really tight zone in the middle of a zone. And that basis, that 20-month moving average is right there at 55,392, and price is now 52,372. But again, there's 28 days left in this month, so this could just turn into a wick and close well above, right? So what I'm really seeing is support is holding magnificently. Again, let me just draw that line right across here, and let's see what's really happening. A previous resistance, right? Breakout, resistance, flipping to support. That black line, which is kind of coinciding with the moving averages, with the bull market support band, with everything. And there's still time to recover all of those, right? Since the month is just beginning and the week still has 3 days left. So to be bearish on XRP because of that news, I think it's a mistake. And I think what's really happening, let me go back to my GANs chart here. We'll take this off, and there we go. Let me just go take this Bollinger Band off and show you one more time, right? We're going to pull this out and we're going to take a look. All it is back to support, and it's still, in my opinion, only a matter of time before this arc gets flipped to a support. And we're going to go back to that monthly chart here, and then we're going to go to the Ichimoku, and I'm going to show you some things with that Ichimoku level right here. And the top of that cloud is now really, really flat, and it sits at exactly 104, maybe 103.7, 104, that zone. So once price breaks a monthly candle, a weekly candle above it, then it's going to go up to that 104. Maybe it'll go to the bottom of the cloud first in the 80s, get rejected there for a few weeks. Who knows? But the target is going to be closing weekly and monthly candles above that 104. And when that happens, it's going to go much higher. And with that, we're going to put on the Fibonacci here, and we're going to see how much higher is possible. And we can see that, well, price is basically going to shoot up there. That is pretty close to the 702. So it'd probably wick above to the 702, around 121,487, and then maybe build a base and shoot up much higher, possibly to the 1.272, which is the first extension level, and that's at $8. So that, I think, would be the minimum target for XRP. That 8.296, that should be the minimum target once things get going. But one last thing that you need to pay attention to is, what level did that get rejected at right there? You can see that right there, right? That's a Fibonacci level. And what level that was that? That was the 50% level right there, and we can see it right there at 61495, right? That 50% level at 61 cents, it got rejected. So that is more confluence of resistance. So let's add them all up. We had the top of the arc, right? We had the baseline at 62.4. We had that 51% fib at 61.4. And then it just, so much pressure still that it just collapsed, right? And it collapsed on news narrative, but it didn't really collapse anywhere except back to support. And if we even put on our 50-week or 50-month moving average here, we can see that that was also in line with some resistance right there around 59671. Now, the 100-month does sit at 45.8. Is it possible to go down there during this month? Yeah, I think it could be, right? That could be a possibility to go down there and wick one more time and then just close the month up higher, because the month just began, right? There's 28 days and 3 hours left. So there's lots of possibilities within this whole month, but regardless, I think the month is still going to close out October 31st just fine. It's still going to just build a base in this zone. And one of these weeks, one of these months, it's going to get on top of this arc, going to get on top of that 50% fib level, and then it's going to go to the top of the cloud on the monthly chart, 104, and then it's just going to build a base and go much higher. So, in my opinion, this is still just the beginning of XRP taking off, and it still is looking so nice. And for whatever negative narrative is out there, I just look at the charts, and the charts are telling me something completely different than the narrative. So, it's just a matter of time still, in my opinion, for price to go much, much higher.